US President Joe Biden concluded his first trip to the Middle East. His first stop was in Israel, where he reaffirmed his support and commitment to its security, signing a landmark agreement called the Jerusalem Declaration with Israeli caretaker Prime Minister Yair Lapid, committing the US to Israel's security, assuring it of military edge and technological superiority in the region. Biden made it clear that he supports the Abrahamic Accords signed under his predecessor, saying he will work to expand on them and integrate Israel in the region.
Israelis were, I think, quite disappointed because they were not successful to convince the Americans to agree with them on two important issues. One, to put a deadline to the negotiations. Second, to enunciate a red line concerning the Iranian progress on the nuclear program.
The president also visited the West Bank, where he met with Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas in Bethlehem, a meeting that lasted about 75 minutes. Biden offered his long-standing support for a two-state solution, but gave no indication on what his administration would do to make a Palestinian state become a reality. President Biden also made a quick stop at the Augusta Victoria Hospital here behind me in East Jerusalem, where he announced $100 million in aid to a network of Palestinian hospitals throughout East Jerusalem, and declared that Washington will provide an additional $200 million for the United Nations agency serving Palestinian refugees. Analysts say that's not what the Palestinians were going after. They didn't get what they wanted from President Biden.
Of course not. I don't think they are going to return much needed humanitarian funding for hospitals for UNRWA. But at the same time, the Palestinians are looking for commitment to their political horizon. They're looking for an end to occupation. And none of that was addressed by Biden in any real terms.
President Biden concluded his Middle East tour meeting with the leaders of 9 Arab nations, including a long-awaited visit with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The president came to Saudi Arabia 18 months after taking office, vowing to remain engaged in the region, helping countries there to resist the drive for influence by Iran, Russia, and China. Many are skeptical whether he was able to achieve all or even part of his agenda.
There was no concrete promises on oil production and bringing down oil prices. There was no advancement of normalization, especially between Saudi Arabia and Israel.
President Biden faces mounting political challenges back home, including soaring inflation tied in part to spiking energy prices. So he's pushed Gulf states, including Saudi Arabia, to ramp up oil production to bring down fuel costs.
The kingdom will carry out its role in this field, as it has announced an increase in its production capacity to 13 million barrels per day. Thus, the kingdom will not have any additional capacity to increase production.
Another goal of the president during his tour was to reaffirm Washington's leadership role and commitment to the region.
Let me state clearly that the United States is going to remain an active, engaged partner in the Middle East. As the world grows more competitive and the challenges we face more complex, it is only becoming clear to me that how closely interwoven America's interests are with the successes of the Middle East. We will not walk away and leave a vacuum to be filled by China, Russia, or Iran. We'll seek to build on this moment with active, principled American leadership.
But he emerged without a single diplomatic breakthrough.
And so whether his commitments to the region hold much weight or will convince American allies of U.S. credibility is up in the air.
President Biden was hoping to lay the ground for a regional security alliance comprised of Arab states and Israel to stand in opposition to Iran and its allies. But some of the countries attending the summit made it clear, even before they arrived in Jeddah, that they want nothing to do with any military pact targeting Iran.
I must say that I'm not surprised by this attitude of the Saudis and even by other Gulf states that have relations with Israel, such as Bahrain and the United Arab Emirates. After all, those states are afraid of Iran. As long as this threat is lingering, they are not going to appear openly in a defense pact with Israel.
High hope preceded President Biden's visit to the Middle East, but the prevailing feeling here that it fell short of meeting its stated goals. For Palestinians, their modest expectations were not met, and the feeling is not exclusive to them.
They were disappointed, Israelis were disappointed, and the rest of the Middle East was disappointed. So maybe the Americans should do some rethinking about their policy in the Middle East.
From Jerusalem, Mohammed Al-Qasim, reporting for the Media Line.